Hello guys, my name is Tarina and we are here today. This is actually my very first YouTube video where I will be doing a recipe. So today we are going to make a 4-meat chili. So we're gonna make a 4-meat chili from scratch using ground beef, sweet Italian sausage, shredded chicken, and pulled pork. And it is really good. And I think you guys are really gonna like it, enjoy it. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Thank you. So right here I have some sauteed onions and bell pepper and a little bit of garlic. And here in this pot is actually pulled pork and shredded chicken in this pot with the sauteed onions and bell pepper and a little bit of garlic, salt and pepper. And then over in this pot is going to be our ground beef and our sweet Italian sausage. So I have to actually take the sweet Italian sausage out of the casing, and then it will get browned together with the ground beef in the other pot. So what I did is started out making sure that the pulled pork and shredded chicken that is in this pot is all good to go, because we're just going to add that to the other pot once it's done. So we're going to get the ground beef and the sweet Italian sausage going in the other pot, and we'll be back. Okay, so in this pot I have added ground beef and sweet Italian sausage, and I took the casing off of the sweet Italian sausage and put it in here with the ground beef, and it is browning. It's about ready to come out and get drained. But this is ground beef and sweet Italian sausage. I can only find it in the sausage links, like you would boil or put on a grill. So I had to take the casing out of it and put it in here. This little thing, this ground beef masher thing, I found it Walmart, and it was probably like $3 or so. It wasn't really expensive. You will see that I use a lot of Pioneer Woman in my cooking. Her appliances and utensils and ramekins and things like that. This is not a sponsored video by Pioneer Woman. I just really love Pioneer Woman. Nobody better not never say nothing bad about Miss Reed. I really love Pioneer Woman. Her stuff just really works, and when you get tired of spending your money on cheaper brands that don't work or don't last as long, then you realize that her things are really reasonable for what they cost and how well they work and last. But okay, I am going to brown, I've browned this, so now I am going to drain this so that we can come back with seasonings. So I have my handy dandy Pioneer Woman strainer here, and I am just going to dump this back into the pot without dumping this all over the stove. In just a second. So this strainer is like my absolute favorite strainer. It's also a Pioneer Woman strainer. You can see it's got flowers all over it, and I absolutely just love it because it makes me happy with all the flowers on it. So I love her stuff. Okay, so in this pot I have drained the ground beef and the sweet Italian sausage, and I have added in the pulled pork and the shredded chicken. Okay, so that has been added in. So next what I want to do is I'm going to add, so here I have celery, I have red pepper and a red bell pepper, and I have a green bell pepper. Now some people may not like to add celery, and that's fine if you don't like it. You can also use a celery salt if you prefer. I like to use celery in mine. I just like a little bit of texture, and I also like the fact that it adds some color. It's a little bit better than just looking at a bunch of brown stuff in a bowl. We all know what that looks like, and I'm not gonna say, but this does give it a little bit of color, and the seasonings go through, and I like that a lot better. So this is red bell pepper, green bell pepper, and chopped celery. I also have onion here that is gonna go in, that I've already prepared and cut up. Now you can also put your bell pepper and red bell pepper, onions, all of that inside of your pot while you are frying your beef in the sweet Italian sausage. The reason I didn't do that this time is because I had already put bell pepper and onions and sauteed it with the pulled pork and the shredded chicken. So I didn't saute it with the beef, just to be able to give it a little bit more texture when we're as the food cooks. So just to give it a little bit more texture. So I didn't do that with this time. Okay, so that's mixed in pretty good. So now for the seasonings, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, I have a teaspoon I have a half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and I have a whole teaspoon of chili powder. Okay. I have a teaspoon of oregano and a quarter teaspoon of black pepper. I did not use a lot of black pepper because the chili powder and the peppers is going to give it some spice. So I want it to have a little bit of spice but not be overpowering. So then here I have cumin. I have a little bit of ground thyme. I have some garlic. I have 2 tablespoons of garlic. You don't need a whole lot of that in there because we put some in the other. You can use garlic salt if you want. And I also have a little bit of spice blend, and I dumped, here it is. I also have a little bit of spice blend that's got some red pepper and Italian seasonings in it. And I use just a pinch of basil and a pinch of thyme, and I do mean just a pinch. Okay, so we're gonna get all of these spices mixed in here. And I know some people would prefer to put their liquids in first and then do their spices. That's fine. You can do it either way. For me, I do it this way, and then when I add the liquids, I mean, it's all going to simmer together either way you do it. So whichever one works for you, is best for you, that's fine. And then I also am going to add 1 tablespoon of salt. Okay. So now I am going to continue to mix this in, and then we're going to get some liquids in here and get this back on the heat and going. Okay, so we'll be right back. I also switched spoons. I had the other spoon that I used for the pulled pork and the shredded chicken, so I wanted to switch to another spoon. And so I use wooden spoons because I just like them better. Don't have to worry about the metals and things like that. So and this is also Pioneer Woman. Like I said, I use a lot of her stuff. The pot itself is Pioneer Woman. I just love Miss Ree. But we're gonna get some liquids in here and we'll be right back. Okay, so I added some liquids, and as you can see, I changed my pot as well. This pot is a little larger. It's a lot larger actually than the one that I had in my sauce pot that I had, and I wanted to be able to give it some room to be able to cook and let everything marinate without it running over and spilling over the top. So I did change my pot. It's just a little larger, that's all. So what I added was I added a jar of Prego traditional pasta sauce, and it's up to you with if you want to add anything that's different. I love Prego. Prego is the only pasta sauce that I'll use. I just love the taste of it. It's a little thicker than the other ones, a little more flavorful to my liking. So I use the Prego, but if you prefer to use a pasta sauce that has, some of them have like Italian seasonings and sausage and all these other things, just remember that anything that you add like that is going to change the taste and the flavor of your chili. So I just add the traditional, just the regular pasta sauce. And I'm also going to add in brown sugar. Now, I got the brown sugar tip from another YouTuber, and his name is, I think it's Philly J. I hadn't done chili with a brown sugar before until I saw his video, and I was like, hey, I'm going to try that, you know, and add brown sugar. And it's actually pretty good. I like it. So that's where I get that from. So I want to give credit where credit is due because that was his idea. That came from him. It does give just a little added sweetness. And that's light brown sugar, and I added 4 tablespoons of light brown sugar. So I also added chicken broth to this, and this is just the Walmart brand chicken broth. Now you can use any kind of chicken broth that you like. You can use beef broth, you can use vegetable broth, whichever one you prefer to your liking, whatever makes you happy, float your boat. But I like the chicken broth. I like that flavor. So, and some people like their chili a little thicker. And that's fine. If you want to add tomato paste to make it a little thicker, then you can do that. You can definitely do that. My husband is a meat eater. So, this is a 4 meat chili with ground beef, sweet Italian sausage, pulled pork, and shredded chicken in this chili. I love the color, and it smells so good in here with everything. So we've got this going, and next thing I'm going to do is add the beans. Now this is what I have. I have 1 can of dark kidney beans. I think I have 2 cans. 2 cans of kidney beans. Some people add kidney beans and pinto beans, or you can just do pinto beans or black beans. You can really change this to your liking, however, you know, whatever you like, you know, for your family, whatever your family likes. But this is for me and my family, my husband rather. It's just me and my husband here. Our daughters are, you know, our children are grown and out of the house, but they still like to eat sometimes. But we live in Alaska, so they're actually going to be moving here. So, but this is for me and my husband, and my husband loves my chili, so I am making this for him. I love to cook for my husband. I don't think it's a chore. Cooking is not a chore for me. I feel good, and I take pride in knowing that I prepared with my own hands a meal that's going to fill my husband's belly. And it does me joy to see him eat it and then ask for seconds. And just, I take delight in the little things, the simple things. But that's just me. So anyway, we have added our seasonings. So we added chili powder. Okay. We added black pepper, just a little. Okay. We added cumin. We added oregano. We have added a little bit of cayenne pepper. We have added just a pinch of basil. And this is a garlic and onion spice blend that I added. We added some minced garlic. Okay. And again, just a pinch of thyme. And then brown sugar. Okay. So that is what is in this pot. So we are going to let this simmer. So right now the stove is on like a medium high. I'm going to turn this down to like a medium low, and I'm going to let this simmer for about 25 to 35 minutes and let all those seasonings get in there. Again, if you like to thicken it up, you can use tomato paste to make it a little thicker for you if you would like. My husband likes it this way. So he comes and then he adds in his crackers and things like that, so it's not too thick and dry, because he does put crackers in his. So he likes it this way, so it's not too dry once you add the crackers. Okay, so we're going to let this simmer and then we'll be back. And I said we were going to let this simmer, but first we need to do our beans. So we're going to get these opened and we're going to get these drained. And I like to rinse my beans off because I like to get all of the stuff and residue type stuff that sits on them from being just, you know, sitting in these metal cans. So I do like to rinse my beans off once I strain them in the strainer. So I'm going to do that and then add these to the pot. So I have strained and drained the beans, and I'm dumping those into the pot. These are red kidney beans. Like I said, you can use kidney beans, you can use pinto beans, you can use both, whichever you prefer. So those are now in the pot, and I let them sit in the sink in the strainer for just a few minutes to drain the excess water off. Okay. So we're mixing these in. If you want to add more beans, you can if you like more beans. This was just 2 cans that I added to, I think 16 ounce or 12 ounce cans that I added, the small ones, regular size. And again, my husband likes it a little more with a little more liquidity to it, because he does add crackers to his, and you don't want to add crackers and then it's too thick and then it becomes dry and you can barely swallow it. So we don't want an episode of death by chili. So we're going to, oh, it smells so good. So we're going to let this simmer. So now I'm going to turn the stove down. To medium low. And I am going to let this simmer now, probably for about 35 minutes. And then after the 35 minutes are done, our chili is done. And my husband likes crackers and shredded cheddar cheese in his. For me, I like sour cream and shredded cheese. So whatever floats your boat, whatever is best for you. So we're gonna let this marinate together, get all of those flavors in there together, and then we'll be back. So I'm gonna cover this and then let it marinate, and I'll see you guys in a bit. So our time is up. I let this simmer. It's been about 45 minutes. So it went a little over. I turned it all the way down to low and let it simmer a little bit longer. So it was all the way on low for about 45-50 minutes. And this is the end result of our chili, of our 4-meat chili. So again, this is ground beef, pulled pork, chicken, and sweet Italian sausage. I did forget to mention, I believe that I did put diced tomatoes in here. So after the pasta sauce, I did put diced tomatoes, a large can of diced tomatoes in here. I forgot to mention that. But this is 4-meat chili, and my husband is ready. Everything has cooked down: the celery, the bell peppers, the red pepper, the onion, the green bell pepper. Everything has cooked down. It's soft, and you can see. And then this will go in a bowl with some sour cream and some shredded cheddar cheese for myself. And I've got just a bag of shredded cheddar cheese. And I've got sour cream. So as soon as my husband is ready to sit at the table, I will prepare some bowls, and this will be dinner for us tonight. So I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more recipes, and thank you for watching. God bless you all.